In this video, I'm going to be answering the question, should Christians play video games or not? Now, in this video, I'm not just going to be showing scriptures and condemning or either supporting video games, but as someone who has been exposed to video games for the last 30 years and also being a Christian, I will be sharing with you my own experiences, and hopefully that will give you a more genuine and a more balanced perspective. On this channel, I share with you faith-rooted ideas, wisdom, principles, and information that would help you through the labyrinth of your everyday life. I also aim to bring as much clarity as possible on complicated matters that affect us as Christians in the world today. So let's start by saying I have played video games from as far back as I can remember. So as far back as when Tetris was a thing, to Nintendo Game Boy, and then SEGA Mega Drive, Nintendo Entertainment System NES, and Super Nintendo Entertainment System SNES, and then we had the Nintendo 64, and then obviously the PlayStations and the modern day Xbox series that has come through. So I have been nurtured through what I would refer to as the game generation. Now, depending on when you're watching this, now I currently have an Xbox, and in 2014 I got myself a game called Assassin's Creed Unity. Now, I love adventure games. I love games that make me think. I love games that have puzzles in them and sort of tickle my intellect a little bit. Basically, I use games as a way of unwinding most of the time. So when you register with Xbox using your email, every now and then they send you a breakdown of statistics of the badges you've earned, how much time you've spent on a particular game, and things like that. And so on this occasion, I think in 2015, I looked at this breakdown of the statistics or I got the email, and then I looked down at the statistics of how much time I'd spent on Assassin's Creed. And I remember it was somewhere around 39 days and 14 hours in total. And I was shocked. But let's put this into perspective. At the time, I had a full-time role that I was doing. I had a full-time job, but I was also involved in other things like church and other things that would take my time. So it wasn't a case where I played the game every single day for 39 straight days. I would normally just play it every now and then when I'm back and I just want to unwind and just want to relax before I sleep and stuff like that. But for me, 39 days was a big deal. I was shocked to see that I had played the game for that amount of time, or I had invested that amount of time in the year just on that game. So for me, that was a wake-up call, and that is part of why I'm doing this video, to help share with you some things you should be aware of when it comes to video games. The first thing I think you should know is that video gaming is very time consuming. Now, you could play video games for hours and hours without even noticing that time has even gone. That is very dangerous, because I believe time is the greatest seed God has ever given to man, and it is very important that we guard our time jealously. If you've not seen my clip or video on the value of time, you could check on the link above, and that will take you to that video. But video gaming clearly takes a lot of your time. The second thing you should know about gaming is that gaming leads to reduced concentration and attention. Now, I'll drop some links to some articles if you're interested in the video description if you're watching on YouTube, and you should be able to read a few things about how research has found that gaming can lead to reduced concentration and reduced focus. Now, another thing that excessive gaming does is that it tends to decrease your emotional involvement. You would find that people who game a lot find it difficult to be socially involved in many cases, and sometimes you would find that they find it difficult to interact with people, or they have a very bland social life. So it has an impact on your social skills, on your social life in general. Another thing you should know is that some of these games are violent and manipulating. There is a research from University of Indiana, which I would again drop the link in the video description, where it talks about the correlation between gaming and violent behavior, and how gaming can actually influence people to behave violently, whether it's even mass shooting or things like that. So that's another thing you should be aware of. Another thing to be aware of as well is that excessive gaming also leads to addiction. Now, there have been cases in research where people who their games have been taken away from them have been found to show the same withdrawal symptoms as drug addicts. So clearly it has an impact on your brain in the same way it does on drug addicts, or at least something very similar. And this is mainly because it overstimulates and it damages the frontal lobe of the brain. And note that the frontal lobe of the brain is also the part of the brain where we make moral decisions. That is the part of the brain that stimulates our ability to make decisions that are moral. Now, it's not totally bad. Games also help in improving your qualitative and quantitative aptitude. I recall playing a game where I was using a sniper, and every moment I'd have to get something called diazepam, and that would help make the hands of this character steady so that he could shoot. Now, obviously before that I didn't know what diazepam was, but I only learned about it because I was involved in playing that game. So you learn a few things here and there when it comes to gaming as well. So, but what can we learn from the Bible that applies to video games? One scripture that certainly jumps to mind is Proverbs 24 and verse 3. Above all else, guide your heart with all diligence, for it determines the course of your life. And that is deep. Friends, your mind is the battlefield. It is the epicenter of your success or your failure. You win or you lose with your mind. Now, so what happens in the outside world is only a manifestation of what has been agreed in your mind. Whoever controls your mind controls your decisions and your behavior. And ultimately that controls your life. And that is why mass media is fighting tooth and nail to ensure that they access your mind, whether it is based on what you watch or what you hear, so movies or news or even music and so on. Another scripture you would find useful is 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 13. It says, therefore, with minds that are alert and fully sober. You cannot be alert and fully sober with a mind that is preoccupied with gaming. Excessive gaming reduces your ability to be alert, sensitive, or even fully sober. So does this mean we shouldn't play games? Not exactly. 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 12, the B part. All things are lawful to me, but I would not be enslaved by anything. I'm not against gaming, clearly. Obviously, I have to show you the good sides and the bad sides. But let me share with you a few tips that would help you when it comes to gaming. Be careful what type of games you buy. Now, like movies, there are games that promote sex, drugs, violence, and so on. So you want to stay away from those sort of games because they would have a way of influencing your mind and trivializing certain things that in the real world are actually a big deal. And even as a Christian, can actually impact and affect your everyday life. Another tip is regulate your gaming time. Gaming is strictly for entertainment purposes, so keep it that way. Don't binge play. One rule of thumb I use, and I've used in the time past, is that I don't play more than I pray. So if I pray for 1 hour, then it means I would never play a game that whole period for more than 1 hour. And so if I wanted to play more, then it means I would have to spend more time praying. So if I wanted to play for more than 1 hour, then I'd have to pray for, say, 2 hours as an example. Another tip for you is use gaming as a reward system. So if you have a to-do list, tell yourself, I'm going to do all these things and I'm going to reward myself at the end of the week with 90 minutes of, say, FIFA, for example. And in that way, you're able to regulate or at least control your gaming time. And the game itself is not having or dominating your life. At least you're keeping it in check and under control. Obviously, I understand that not everybody can exert this level of self-control. But I mean, if you are struggling in any way or you feel that you're addicted to gaming, I've put some links in the video description which will help you get some help for yourself and also help you get more control of your gaming habits. Hopefully I've shared a few tips with you which will help you control your gaming habits, or at least moderate them to a level of balance. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification button to stay in touch so that you'll be notified of any new videos we release in the future. See you soon.